They say that recipes should only be used for inspiration, and I certainly agree with that rule once when you achieve a certain level of skill. Today I'm going to show you how to make something that I was inspired by the legendary chef Marco Pierre White. I was watching one of his videos from back in the day when he was cooking in Harvey's, the 3 Michelin restaurant in London. And if you like to see the original video, I'll put a link in the description below. And he was showing a very simple dish that I wanted to make. However, I decided to change some of the elements and the cooking techniques. The dish that he was showing was Salmon Confit in duck fat that was served over a tomato butter sauce with truffles and tomato concassé. I wish I had a black truffle right now, but the truffle season has not started yet here, so I'm going to have access to black truffle perhaps in a month. So for that reason, I will have to improvise, and I'm going to be using white truffle oil. So today we'll be making pan-seared salmon over tomato butter sauce with white truffle oil and garlic confit. Let's look at the ingredients real quick. I have a fillet of Scottish salmon. We have some nice local tomatoes that we're gonna use for the tomato sauce. Here is the white truffle oil, and in the dish, Chef Marco uses orange juice in the sauce, and I have local oranges and grapefruits grown here in Florida. We're going to use some butter for the sauce, and I have some white pepper here that we're gonna use because I think the black pepper is not gonna look nice in the dish. We're gonna make some garlic confit that I like to put on the salmon, and I'm gonna finish it off with some grated bottarga from Sardinia. The very first thing that I like to start with is blanching the tomatoes in hot salty water so I can remove the skins. The first thing that I like to do is make some cross cuts on top of the tomatoes, and that will help peeling them tremendously. After that, I place the tomatoes in the hot boiling salty water very carefully with a spoon because I don't want to splash myself with hot water. After that, I put the lid on and give them about 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I'm going to carefully take the tomatoes out of the hot water and put them in a plate where they can cool down until I cut them into small cubes. When the tomatoes are in the plate and start cooling off, I can start cutting the salmon and preparing it for cooking. All right, so it's time to cut the salmon, and the salmon has a certain anatomy. This is the belly of the salmon, and this is the loin. So for this recipe, I like to use the belly because the belly is the juiciest and most flavorful part of the salmon. And first, we're going to start by removing the salmon from the skin. And as you can see here, we have the center line, and here we can make the first cut down to the skin without cutting the skin. And from here on, we're going to turn the knife and slice off, just like this. And this is what we end up with. And We can also remove the loin from the skin and save it for later use. What I like to do is completely remove the bloodline. This here is the bloodline, and you do this like this. And that's your perfect loin, and this can be sliced into pieces for faster cooking or just cook it like that. But for this recipe we're going to use the belly of the salmon. And I'm just gonna clean that up, and I have some remaining bloodline here, and I'm just going to clean this up like this, because the bloodline tends to be a little fishy sometimes, and it's good idea to remove it. And this is my perfect belly piece that I'm going to use for this recipe. The good thing about this recipe is that once when you have everything prepared, it's very quick to execute, probably 20 minutes at most. The first thing that you need to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees and then start heating up your pan where you're gonna cook the salmon. Meanwhile, you can start working on the sauce. Once when the tomatoes cool off and they're easy to handle, you just have to remove the skin. And as you can see, this is very easy to do thanks to the cross cut that we made on top of the tomato. And see how the skin opens up like a flower, and then you remove it. So the next thing that we need to do is start cutting and slicing the tomatoes, and we have to remove the stems, which obviously are not gonna taste nice in the sauce. And all those white fibrous parts of the tomato have to be removed. And then we are going to cut the tomato into small cubes and put it in the bowl. And this is what the tomato concasse looks like when it's cut. So now we're gonna have to separate some of the tomato concasse on the side, and the rest of it is going to go in the blender to be made into a puree, and this is what our sauce is going to be. Here I'm going to blend the tomatoes for just about a minute, and then we're going to run them through the colander to separate the seeds and the other parts. Here, just like Chef Marco Pierre White in the video, I'm going to run the tomato puree through this colander, and I'm gonna push it through in the pan so we end up with just clear juice of tomatoes without any hard particles. Next, we need to squeeze half a grapefruit and half an orange in this shot glass, and we're gonna use that in the sauce. And this is going to balance the acidity from the tomatoes with a very nice citrusy sweetness. Here we are going to start very gently heating up that tomato juice while constantly whisking it, and the goal is to remove that water so the juice reduces in volume and reaches a nice thick consistency for the sauce. Meanwhile, we can confit the garlic, and this is done by very gently cooking the garlic submerged into oil or clarified butter or your favorite fat. Don't forget to keep whisking that sauce because you don't want it to burn on the bottom, and constantly check the temperature to make sure the burner is not too hot. Here we can start seasoning the salmon belly, and the good news is that it doesn't require long time to cook because it's rather thin cut of salmon. First, I like to massage the fish gently with olive oil, and then I'm going to season it with salt and pepper. At this point, my tomato juice in the pan has reduced in half. So now I'm going to add the juice from the grapefruit and the orange and continue whisking and reducing. Here I'm just going to check on my garlic confit, make sure it's not burning, and it's looking pretty good actually. So we've managed the temperature pretty well and the garlic is not burning. Here I'm going to add a nice piece of butter to the hot cast iron. And I really love cooking in a cast iron because it makes a perfect sear on any fish and it doesn't stick. And now I'm going to put the salmon inside and cook it on the stove for about 5 minutes. And we're not gonna touch the salmon, we're not gonna flip it, we're simply gonna leave it on its presentation side for about 5 minutes, and later on I'm gonna come back to it and baste it a little bit with the hot butter before I put it in the oven. Butter basting is definitely my favorite French cooking technique and I always enjoy doing it. In this case, you can simply put a bouquet garni on top of the fish and allow that hot butter going through the herbs to flavor the fish. Just a little food for thought for the next time when you butter baste anything. It could be fish, it could be meat, it could be any type of protein. After 5 minutes of pan-searing and butter basting, the salmon is ready to go in the oven where it remained for about 10-15 minutes. And as you can see, my garlic confit is inside, gently cooking in the oil, and everything is coming together very nicely. At this point, my sauce has reached ideal consistency, and now it's time to season it with the white pepper and with salt. And we're going to add salt and pepper and whisk it in and then taste it, and we'll need to add more if it's not salty enough. And then we whisk some more and we taste some more until we reach the perfect balance of saltiness. So here I'm going to pull the fish out of the oven because it's been there for about 10 minutes and give it a couple of more bastes. And I am pretty sure at this point that the fish is perfectly cooked. Alright, so here it's time to add the remaining of the tomato concassé to the sauce, so it starts heating and incorporating in the sauce. And as you can see, I'm whisking it in and I'm giving a few final bastes to the salmon, and I'm working both the sauce and the fish at the same time. At this point, the salmon is perfectly cooked and I am just going to flip it on this plate there while it rests for a couple of minutes, and I'm going to finish the sauce. The very last thing that we need to do is add cold butter to the sauce while it's not on the heater, and incorporate the butter into it. And this is the last thing that we need to do before we start to plate. As you can see, the butter has perfectly blended in the sauce and there is no separation because the pan is not on the heat. Alright, so we're plating the salmon with the tomato sauce, and the first thing that we need to do is spoon the sauce on the bottom of the plate. Then we're going to put the salmon on top of the sauce. After that, we're going to put the garlic confit on top of the salmon. And the very final step is to drizzle with white truffle oil and finish the entire plate with grated bottarga. Okay, here it is. It looks amazing. I can't wait to try it. The pan-seared Scottish salmon over tomato butter sauce with tomato concasse, truffle oil, garlic confit, and bottarga. Very amazing sauce. Let me see how we did. Taking a piece of salmon with a piece of garlic. Wow, this is amazing. The sauce is absolutely delicious. The salmon is cooked perfectly. Amazing. I've never had bottarga in my life. This is the first time. Truly incredible experience. Truly amazing dish. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, don't forget to write them in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to check Chef Marco Pierre White's video, also in the description, if you want to see him cooking in the 3-star Michelin restaurant in London. And I wish you a wonderful day, and I'll see you around.